is the comparative. Do you know the meaning of comparative or comparing? What do you think the meaning of comparing or comparative? Yes, thank you, Rahaf. Yes, when I compare between two things, I'm saying that something has something or an adjective more than the other one. Okay, or when I compare between two people. Comparing, by the way, is bad. We shouldn't compare ourselves to other, and we shouldn't also consider this comparing. But sometimes we need to know how we're going to form a sentence in the comparative form and in English. Now let's see. The first one is when you use, just a minute, it's not clear. Okay, yes. Okay, please, I need you to write with me. Type. The first one is when we use more or less with the adjective, you see. By the way, comparative means that you have to use an adjective because you're going to compare this thing with the other thing with what? You have to use an adjective to see what is the thing that you're comparing with. So the first thing is that use more or less plus the adjective or adjective plus er to make the comparative. طيب, when I use this form, which is more or less with the adjective, and when I use the adjective plus the adjective, the adjective plus er, after them we're going to have than. Okay, but they are different. طيب, in English we have, in the adjective, we have two types of adjectives. Let me write this, just a minute. Two types of adjectives. I have a long adjective and I have a short adjective. Okay, so, oh, this is not clear. If the adjective was long, or when I consider an adjective that is long, for example, let's say that I use the adjective expensive. Expensive is considered to be a long adjective, you see, while if I say cheap, which is the opposite, it's considered to be a short adjective. Like, why I need to know that this adjective is long and this adjective is short? Because if I know if this adjective is long or short, I will know which form I'm going to use to compare between two things. You have absolutely to have two things. Just draw here that here in the comparative, two things. You should have two things, two people. Okay, طيب. Now, if I use the word or the adjective expensive, okay, do I use the form more or less plus the adjective, or the adjective plus er? I add er to the word. Which one do you think? I'm going to use the adjective now, expensive. Okay, which one is the better? Which one is the correct form? More or less or adjective with er? Yes, Rafif, very good. More or less. How I'm going to use that? Let's say I'm comparing between two bags. So I'm going to write a sentence now. I hope you're writing with me. I'm going to say this bag is, whether I'm going to use more or less according to the meaning that I want. More يعني أكثر. Less is opposite أقل. So this bag is, I chose more, and then the adjective expensive. And then what? Than. This bag is more expensive than the other one, for example. ها أولى ها ثالث. Clear until now? Please write in the chat if it's clear, if you don't understand, if you want me to replay it again. All of you, it's clear? Okay. Now moving on, if I have what? A short adjective. If I have a short adjective like cheap, then I'm not going to use this form more or less. I'm going to say adjective plus er. How? If I write or rewrite the same sentence again but using another adjective. Let's say this, erase it, use another color. طيب. This bag is. Am I going to add more or less? No, because my adjective is short. Then I will add er. So this bag is cheaper. Yes, this bag is cheaper than the other one. Why I added er? Because it's easier for me. This adjective is short, so er, it's okay if I add er. Otherwise, or in contrast, if I have a long adjective, if I added er, it will be more difficult for me to pronounce the adjective. Expensiver, I cannot say expensiver, it's a long adjective already. So adding another two letters will be no use. Otherwise, I'm going to add something different, which is more. And here, er. Both of them, we have than and than, which is the word that I use when I compare between two things. What are the two things that I'm comparing? This bag with the other one. This bag with the other one. So two things, that's why I'm using than. The difference is short and long adjective. Long adjective comes with this form, more or less. Short adjective comes with this form, which is the er. ها ثالث. Clear? Clear? All of you, the rest? Right. Sometimes when I compare between two things, I use words such as a little, slightly, much, a lot, certainly to express what? How much something is different, or to add emphasis. So let's give an example here. Let's say that we're going to definitely, but I'm going to use the adjective. My adjective is organized. Okay. Okay, so the adjective is organized. Just a minute. I'm going to compare between two sisters, okay, using the adjective organized. Now, do you consider organized to be a long adjective or a short adjective? What do you think? All of you, you consider organized to be a long adjective. Okay, thank you, Rahab. So I consider organized to be a long adjective, and that's correct. It's a long one. Now I'm going to compare between two sisters, and also I'm going to use one of those words to add what? Emphasis. كأني أؤكد على الجملة أو على المقارنة. So I'm going to say Your sister your sister is can someone help me? Is definitely more organized than you. Let's say, pay attention here, Thalith, your sister is definitely more organized than you. Okay, I can erase definitely. Definitely, just it's a word that I add to make what? My sentence, to add emphasis, to add maybe another meaning. Your sister is more organized than you. Your sister is definitely more organized than you. Nothing changed because definitely means when I add emphasis to the sentence. So those words, if you add them, they are not an adjective. They don't relate to the adjective. They just what add emphasis to your comparative sentence. Clear, Thalith? Clear? All of you? No questions? Okay, are you done writing? If you're done writing, please tell me or take a screenshot. Okay, shall we move on now? I know you've taken this grammar before. Maybe the new thing for you is when you add words like a little, slightly, and definitely. Right. Now let's move on. When I don't want to compare between two things, I will say that two things are the same or has the same level of some adjective. I'm going to use simply as adjective and then as to compare things that are equal or similar. So Finding Nemo is as good as Toy Story. For this person, Finding Nemo, the animation, is the same thing. For him, it's good as Toy Story. Okay? And if I want to add the opposite part, I'm going to say not as with the adjective, as. When I want to say, I don't know how much it's different, but I'm going to say that they are different. يعني if I used في الexample التي قبل أنا ذكرت إنه this bag is more expensive. طب أنا أريد أن أذكر إنه هذه bag is different from the other one. I'm simply going to say this bag is not as expensive as the other one. I don't know maybe which one is expensive, maybe the first one, maybe the second one. And also when I add as, which is the affirmative, I'm going to say, for example, you are as pretty as your mother. You will pay attention here that you will notice that in as adjective as, I'm not going to change anything in the adjective. No er, no more, nothing. It's going to be the same. Write those examples, please. And do you have any question on this part? Thank you for replying, Rahab. Thank you, Bader. Now let's move on. You're welcome, Rafiq. Now here when some kind of comparing, maybe it's a new for you, some kind of forms that I use when I compare between two things, but in another way, not the simple way that we have known. When I use the comparative, the plus the comparative plus or the and then the comparative to describe two actions, the second action happens as a result of the first. How? Pay attention here. So the, and then the comparative. Also the same sentence, and then the comparative. The more I hear about Giza pyramids, comma, so you see the comparative. The more I want to know. The harder he works at speaking English, comma, the better he becomes. It doesn't have to be the same. The harder, because it doesn't help with the meaning. So he said the harder he works at speaking English, the better he becomes. So here I have two actions, comparing between two actions. But one of them is the result of the other one. This is the result of the other one. Of what? Of working hard at speaking English. If you work hard at speaking English, then the better he becomes. It's like a gradually. So for example, let's write an example to make it more clear. Do you have an example in your mind? Hmm? If you have an example, please write it down. I would think of easy the exam. No, not the easy. Yeah. No. I think we've heard these sentences a lot in movies. Is no. Oh, I don't have something in mind. The more I study, the more I learn. Very good. Nice sentence, Rahab. Let's write it down. The more I study, let's say, the more I study hard, no, the more I study English, let's say, the more I learn new vocabularies, maybe. Thank you, Rahab. Very good sentence. Also, maybe we can write the more the hard, the easier maybe the exam is. The easier the exam is, the more relaxed I am. The easier the exam is, the more relaxed I am. Do you have any question about this part, Thalith? Is it clear? Everything is clear, Thalith? Okay, good. We have 3 minutes left. We only have the superlative. Yes, we only have the superlative. Okay. So we're going to compare the to do the superlative tomorrow, inshallah. Please study the comparative form in order not to forget it, because we're going to have our exam near this time, maybe after 2 weeks. Okay, any question, Taris? Any question about the grammar of today?
No, thank you.
You're welcome, darling. Okay, just let me take the attendance and then you're free to go. Bader is here. Jude, are you here, Jude? Jude is absent. Dana?
موجود.
Ragad is here. Rafif is here. Rimas?
موجودة.
Rahaf is here. Rima? Rima is absent. Sarah?
Yes.
Sadine?
يس موجود.
Sadine دخلتي متأخر، ما السبب؟
النت كان معلق معلق.
شفيقة؟
موجود.
شهد؟ شهد is absent. غدي؟
يس.
فرح؟
نعم.
ماريا؟
نعم موجودة.
ناجية؟ ناجية. Yes, ناجية is here. رنيم دخلتي الآن قبل دقيقة، فأرسلي لي عذرك على الخاص. Okay, so this is all for today. Have a nice day. Bye bye.